Now let us focus on a very important feature within Excel, and that is about protecting your worksheets and your entire workbook as a whole. At times you might be working on some real confidential or maybe even some real complex data. For example, you might want to create form, and I need to ensure that whoever uses this form should enter the name, employee ID, date of birth, and let Excel calculate the age. I have a formula over here. That's a year frac function, which we had discussed earlier. I've used it with an if function because in case if this date is not mentioned over here, then just give a blank rather than giving any random value or any error. And if there is any date, just calculate the year difference in the form of decimal spot. Let's say that would be 15.4 years or so. Now I have this function over here and I want this to work perfectly fine. And here I have time of entry. I've used a now function. That means the time when this data was entered. Now let's say here by default, I can enter anything. I can change anything over here. I can type. I can maybe even change this formula and just randomly put 18 years. That works perfect. Maybe I might want to just change this to 2021 and change this to 13 and just hit enter. That's a manual entry over here. But now I want to restrict this kind of edit because maybe the person who's entering the data may not be entering correct information and they are overriding the formulas given over here, which could compromise on the integrity of this data. So all I need to do is I'll first undo this, and I want to ensure that they only enter data in these cells and nowhere else. Now by default in Excel, if you click on any cell, right click on any cell and click on format cells. Amongst the tabs over here you have protection. You can click on this protection and you will see by default any cell in Excel has the locked checked. Okay, and whether is it hidden, that's unchecked over here. So if you have any cell which is shown as locked, and later on once you protect the worksheet, all the locked cells, the users may not be able to edit any of the locked cells. So let me show you what exactly will happen. By default, all the cells, be it these yellow cells or the ones with the formula, all of them, you can right click on format cells. Under protection, you will already see that the locked option is checked. So now with this, the default feature of Excel, let us try to lock this worksheet and see how it shapes up. So there are two approaches to accessing this feature. One is under the review menu. You can click on review menu and here you have protect sheet. You click on protect sheet and here you can give a password. Let's say I want to give a password as ABC123. So it says protect worksheet and contents of locked cells. Now select locked cells, select unlocked cells, and there are a lot many options that you can select over here. For now, we'll just leave it as it is, the default. ABC123 is the password. Click OK. Now Excel often wants to confirm if you have typed the correct password. So we type again ABC123. Click OK. And now here we have this. Alright, nothing changed it seems. Let's try and change this to 18. Well, the cell or chart you are trying to change is on a protected sheet. To make a change, unprotect the sheet, you might be requested to enter a password. So here, now I can't even enter the date or nothing because all of them were locked. Now, in order to unprotect the sheet, I have the option over here. I can click on unprotect and enter the password ABC123. And here we have this again. I can change this back to 18 and everything is normal. So I undid this. Here we can have test and yes, it works. Now there is also another feature called allow edit ranges. Let's say I click on this range is unlocked by a password when sheet is protected. So if I click on new and give range 1, we can give any name for it. For now, I'll just leave it as it is. And refers to, I'll clear this off and select these 3 cells here. Range password. Let's say I want to give XYZ123. Mind you, this is XYZ123 this time. And click OK. Again, it asks for a password. It's XYZ123. Click OK. We have the range. I click apply and OK. Now, if I want to edit it, as of now, it will allow me to edit. But what if once I protect the worksheet? So earlier I mentioned on the review menu, you have this approach of protecting a worksheet. Alternatively, you also have a better option here, easier option. In case if you're lost and you're not sure which menu has or which tab has the protect option, you can right click on the worksheet tab over here at the bottom, right click, and you have protect sheet. Click on that. Now password to unprotect. Earlier, we had a different password for selecting those cells which are free to be edited. That was XYZ123. I can repeat the same password, which is absolutely fine. But here we can also have a separate one like ABC123. Click OK and again ABC123 and OK. Now everything is locked over here. Can I edit this? No. Can I edit this? Well, a cell you are trying to change is password protected. Enter the password. Now which password will it take? Will it take ABC123? No. That's the password to unlock the worksheet. So the one which I want to edit the particular cell would be XYZ123. Hit enter and now it will allow me to type, let's say James. Now let's check the employee ID. We say 890, date of birth. Let's say it is 12/12/1999. I hit enter and it shows it's 21 years and 21.18 years. That's just 20% of another year of the 22nd year. So here we have this feature, then that's cool here. So you can protect the worksheet and specifically select the records that you want to change. The best thing is in case if you want to give it to anyone, let's say you want to give this file to anyone, but you do not want to share your worksheet unlock password. But then again, you do not want everyone to change these cells. You would want specific people to change these cells. Then you can highlight them, click on review, and you have allow edit range. As of now, it's not visible because the sheet is protected. So I'll have to first unprotect the sheet. Now here it's ABC123. And yes, now we can edit anything in this file. So we selected allow edit range and select the cells, whichever you want to edit. You have the option. You can modify it in case if you made an error in selecting the right cells and click OK. Now let's say I do not want to give any password at all. If it is open for anyone who is using this file, I do not want to restrict the editing of this with a password. So I can click on delete, that is remove the range. Click on OK. Now these cells are no longer password protected. Okay, but I know one thing for sure that by default, if I right click on these cells and click on format cells, they are locked. Okay. Now consider this scenario. I want to have this worksheet locked. None of these should be edited. Only these cells should be edited, and I don't want them to be password locked. They just need to be freely accessible to or editable by anyone who has this file. So except for these cells, none of them should be editable, and you do not want to give any password, any form of password to the user. So in that scenario, you might want to first select these cells, right click, format cells, uncheck this locked feature. That means these cells are no longer locked. Click OK. You have this. Now simply just right click here and click on protect sheet I give the name again, ABC123, ABC123. Now, in case if anyone has a question that once you had given a password, a particular password for the worksheet, although I have unlocked it, do I need to repeat the same password or can I change it? Well, you can change the password. For example, here this time I would say DEF789. Click OK. DEF789. And then OK again. Now this time I've shifted from ABC123. So every time you protect the sheet, you can set or define a password. That could be one of the older password or a new password as well. Now, will it allow me to edit? No. What about this? No. But what about this cell? Yes, it allows me to edit. I say Tony. Employee ID, let's say 520. And date of birth, let's say this person is 10/8/1998. And here we have this. And the time at which it was recorded. We cannot edit the age either. And this is how you can protect your sheet. Now in this particular sheet, I can give it to anyone and I don't need to give any form of password. We just have these cells which are editable and they cannot edit anything else in this entire file anywhere. You double click on any cell and it won't allow you. And like I mentioned earlier, in case if you want another level of security wherein not any random person who holds this file or who has this file can edit it, but you want specific people to edit it. Let's say you are handing it over, you are in charge of a marketing team. You're handing this file over to your team members. Now, by any chance, if this goes to the finance team, you do not want them to edit this. You do not want them to give any sort of data and they should not be able to edit this. Even editing this much of data is very much too limited to the marketing department. So at that time, I might just want to first unprotect the worksheet. You have unprotect DEF789. And yes, it's unprotected. Now the password is gone. I can set a new password next time if I log this table again or this worksheet again. So I can select this, allow edit range. Click on New. The range is already selected by default since I had selected. Range password, I say XYZ123 again. And again XYZ123, hit enter. Here we have the range. Click on apply and OK. Now this feature will not, the allow edit ranges will not take effect unless and until you lock or protect your worksheet. So right click. Protect worksheet. Here I say again ABC123, ABC123. Now you are the head of marketing department. You do not want to give out a password for editing any cell or any part of the worksheet. So ABC123 for the worksheet unlock is close to your heart. You're not giving out to anyone. But for your members, you might want to give them the password to edit these cells over here. Okay. Now moving on, we would also, let me unprotect this now. I say ABC123. So we have this unprotected and remove. We have this unprotected and we can again edit back. Now this time I want to protect the workbook, the entire workbook. Now this workbook consists of multiple sheets. We have sheet 1 and sheet 2. Now sheet 2 we didn't do anything so far. But yes, we have them. Now, what's the difference between the protect sheet and protect workbook? Well, protect sheet is very specific to this particular sheet. You cannot change anything within this sheet unless you have the password or you have allowed them to change. Now, here I will select protect workbook. Let's say password. This time I want a different password. That should be something, let's say it's 123456 and protect workbook for structure. If I have this checked and click OK, 123456, click OK, and you see I cannot rename this. The rename, move, copy or hide, unhide, everything is restricted for me. Can I move this? Can I shuffle the order of these worksheets? No, it does not allow. Can I rename this? No, it's protected. So whenever you select Protect Workbook, it protects the entire structure of the file of the worksheets or the entire workbook. But what about the worksheets over here? Well, the worksheets are not protected. You have restricted them from making any changes amongst the worksheets. They should be as they are. You cannot hide them or unhide them. You cannot move or copy them. Well, in case if you have already hidden, then no one can unhide it. You cannot rename them either or create or add a new worksheet either. It won't allow you to. And that's the job about protecting Workbook. So both are two different tasks. Don't assume when you click on Protect Workbook, the entire cells, everything is locked. No, that's not the case. Workbook deals with the structure. Protect Sheet is all about the contents within the sheet. Now, in case if you receive a file and there is another way to unlock or protect or unprotect the sheets, so you can come here, click on Info, and you see Protect Workbook. If it is protected, you will find it in yellow. The structure of the workbook has been locked. So click on this, and here you have that Protect Workbook structure which is selected. Notice the icons over here. This one is highlighted with a gray background. So you click on this, and now it will ask for unprotect. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Enter. And yes, the sheets are unprotected. I can again hide, move, copy, rename, delete. Maybe even I also add another worksheet, and yes, it works flawlessly. Similarly, I can also go to Info. I can protect current sheet and also do this. I have many options of what to format, what to allow, and what not to allow while protecting the sheet. Allow all users of this worksheet to format cells. Well, when I say format, that also means applying border, the fonts, size, shape, and whatnot. Format columns, format rows. Do you want to allow them to insert columns or rows? If you put them checked, they can insert rows and columns. If you put this checked, you can allow them to insert hyperlinks. By checking this, you allow them to delete certain rows or columns, but if you uncheck them, they cannot delete, neither they can insert. And this is how you can protect it.